4, 3, 2.
Good morning, everybody. Hope you're enjoying your Wednesday morning coffee. Turn us up in your car stereo because this is another episode of the Wisemen Say podcast, a Columbus soccer podcast. Tyler Fisher alongside Jerald Lucas. Jerald, how was your not fulfilled soccer weekend?
It was boring.
Fair enough.
I mean, there was some couple games over the weekend. Got to sit back, relax with some friends over the weekend, and watch some decent hockey or soccer. I mean,
That's fair.
Yeah.
Really quick to start this off, breaking news out of Columbus Crew. Jonathan Mensah was hospitalized during the Ghana match. I can't remember who they were playing, but a nasty head collision with another player. He was hospitalized, taken off in an ambulance. He was recently discharged. All tests came back negative, so that's a good sign for Columbus Crew and the captain. How much does Jonathan Mensah impact the Columbus Crew?
He impacts them a lot. He means a lot to them. We talked with him after one of the losses. I believe it was towards Nashville, I think it was. And actually, no, it was after the win against DC. And he talked about, he told the boys we need a winning mentality. Yeah. And, for him to speak up like he did in the locker room, look what happened, 3-0. So he's the sound mind and the voice of the team. So having him hurt like that with the nasty, head collision, the way it happened, it's scaring. It's scary for the Crew because, he's an intricate part to the team's defense.
Yes, very.
So without him, now you're on rocky roads on who you're going to get to fill his shoes.
So now the question remains is if Mensah were to lose some time after coming out of this international break, how does that affect the Crew back line in general? You said he was a very intricate part of the back line, but thinking of the back line as a whole and how they play with his commandments because he is captain, what does that do for the back line and how does it affect them in general?
So it affects them by their formations. So now you might have to take some from here in the midfield or close to the front line and bring them back to the back line that, has shown like they could be a good defender. However, you're also taking away an attacker or a facilitator. So it's who do you put there?
Right.
And, as far as defender goes, I think this is the first time in a long time that Columbus has been thin at the defender position. We got all the strikers, we got all the midfielders, all the backs, but we don't have defenders.
Depth is a very crucial part of the sport of soccer, if you don't know that by now. So I can only think of one defender that comes right off the top of my head as far as the depth chart goes, and that's Josh Williams. Now, going forward, if, say, Milos Gilio and Mbaba also. So there's two. So now you're thinking long term, right? Long term, if Milos or Mensah get hurt in the long term, now you have to bring in either Williams or Anibaba for that spot. And then you're thinking, all right, now we just have one more person on the depth chart if, say, Milos gets called up to the Australian national team and there's a Crew game. Now you have to put Anibaba in. So now we run in the back line.
I think also, too, that's where, some of the call-ups from Crew 2 would come in.
Yes, we've seen a lot of those.
Because Philip Quinton started off with the first team in preseason, meshed well with the team. He's proven to be a good defender. I know he was kicking himself for getting the red card before, playing at lower.com. But, he's proven as a good defender and can mesh well with the first team. Next person you talk about as a defender, Jake Morris.
Yes. But isn't he more of a fullback, though? Like a left or right back?
He is. I believe he's more of the left back, but he's also has played a defense part with Crew too.
Okay.
Even going, he showed it going up against. I think he was in. Matter of fact, it was against the one where him and his brother were just started.
Was that against Toronto at LDC? LDC?
No, that was against.
Not. Anyway.
Yeah, what I can't remember which team it was. Yes, it was actually against Toronto, where it was both of them played together, and they were having that sibling rivalry. But Jake was back, while Aiden, was up there doing his thing in the middle. Mm-hmm. But Jake, proved to be that hard worker right there on that left side for, to help out with I can't remember if Schulte was playing or Bradley. But either one of them, he was there to help.
Right.
So if you bring him up, you bring those two up, I think you bring in a little bit of depth, there at the defense. And you don't forget also, too, you could drop some people back like
you can drop Derek back.
Yeah, but then you're taking away an attacker.
Not really, because you can bring on Marlon Harrison for an attack. You can bring on.
Is he going to be healthy?
Yeah.
He should be, at least coming out of this break.
Yeah, he should be. Yeah, that's right.
So, right. I mean, but, you're looking at long term. You're looking at short term, and just in case if Jonathan can't come back, after this break. Mm-hmm. And then say, knock on wood, it doesn't happen. But if he's done for the season, because of a severe concussion.
The good thing is all tests came back negative, so that's a start. But knowing Caleb Porter, he want to take precautionary reasons
and then go have more testing done, which I think that's one thing that's plagued Porter this year, and why injuries and why a lot of people are in an uproar, to get rid of him.
Hot take: turf is bad for soccer.
Yeah, so it's
just speaking facts.
Right. So it's a lot of people are in that uproar because it's like, okay, well, they're putting it on Porter. Mm-hmm. He's doing everything he can with the game plans.
Yes,
but if you don't have enough personnel to execute those,
then that's where that's where the cookie crumbles, and
but it still ultimately falls on the coach's shoulders. Mm-hmm. So I mean, if we could get people healthy coming out of this international break, and I know he's been working some of the ones that here that weren't on no break, we get everybody all in unison and come out hot. Who do we got coming out? We got Charlotte.
Charlotte, yep. June 18th.
Charlotte, brand new to the league. And,
without a head coach.
Yeah, so, they're not doing too bad for an expansion team, but they're also not doing too good.
Yeah.
So
they're meeting the expansion standard for their first season.
Yeah.
They're not a Portland. New York. They're not a Portland who was good and whatnot. They didn't also do a. They're not. I mean, this is their first time, but they also didn't do a NYCFC, LAFC, who won the Supporter Shield their first or second year of being in the league. So they're meeting the expansion standard, right in the middle.
Yes, so, I mean it's if you hammer that one home,
you might have a case to be back in that talk for the playoff line.
Yep.
So last question before we move on to the next one: how important is this international break for Columbus? Think of all aspects here.
All aspects. It's very important. We went on to the break 3 points. So we went into the break on a high note. Got out of a grueling month of May. So you got that, and now it's just put all the pieces together. We saw flashes throughout the throughout the whole season so far. We saw flashes. Even though there were some games that we didn't score, we had the chances.
Right.
One thing that needs to stay consistent is room.
Yes.
And in my opinion, Columbus has got 2 more keepers that they could rotate, that they could bring up one at a time. Give room a game or 2 off each month.
So who do you throw in? Evan Bush?
I mean, you could put Bush in, or you could call up Scott. He's played some with the first team. Even Schulte has played some with the first team. So I think we're putting too much on Room, and he's every game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you give him, he plays 2 games, he takes a game off. So I mean, we sort of see it. We sort of see it in other sports like hockey. The top goalie gets, if they're going on a road trip, a 5-game road trip, the top goalie gets the first 2 to 3 games, depending on how he plays.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, they're sitting him down, bringing in the second string. If Columbus was to do something like that with Room, I think that, he'll be well rested coming into the games that he does play.
But then that falls into possibly having it a common thing, right? Because then that could throw off the Room's preparation in practice.
I mean, it can, but if he knows, because we know how hard of a competitor he is.
Yes.
We see it every game. We see it every training. You can only go so hard for so long before your body starts, fading. And if you're doing 5 games a month, 4 games a month, or you have to go on a road trip like Columbus just did,
mm-hmm.
you're not getting the rest that you need. Because if you're playing on a Saturday night, at the beginning part of May, and you're in New York, next game is going to be, say, in Austin. Next game after
Where?
that, Austin.
Where?
The city that we don't like, Texas.
Okay.
So you're talking about, you go. I'm just throwing hypothetical.
Oh no, I know. I'm just.
So you're talking about, you go to New York one week. You come back. You got, say, 1 day of film and, recovery and lifting and, small things.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got Tuesday, Wednesday, grueling training. Thursday, you're going hard, but you're going light at the same time. Friday, you're doing your final walkthroughs, and then you're out the door.
Yep.
So then you go to Texas, get there to, Texas, Saturday morning, late Friday night, early Saturday morning. Boom, you're at the hotel, you have breakfast, team meeting, then you're at the stadium. Get done with that, you're either there, you leave that night or you leave the next day, come back. So you're not really getting that rest. So I believe if you let Room at least get 1 game off. 1 game off during your month, then he should be well rested to where, he'll be still on top of his game.
What else needs to be on top of their game is strikers for Columbus. Tell you that
Yes.
right now. However, the reason why I bring this up is because according to Sam Stezcall, he is a writer for The Athletic, sources say Crew are considering a DP move for Club Tijuana and former Houston Dynamo striker Mauro Manotas. Manotas, who turns 27 next month, had 51 goals, 17 assists, and 149 regular season appearances before the Dynamo moved him to Tijuana for $4 million after the 2020 season. Where he had 10 goals, 5 assists, and 47 appearances for the Solos. So, Columbus are in the market. We obviously know that one move seems to have fell through. Mm-hmm. And now they're going back for. I still hear Kyle Larin is a possibility. Used to play for Orlando City before he got moved to, I believe it's Turkey and Besiktas. But yeah, so that's that can happen. Sam goes on to say, though he's not listed on the league's page on the topic, source confirms that Manotas would be subject to MLS allocation order. Cincinnati holds the top spot. Columbus is in ninth. So Columbus are working their way up to possibly make a move for Manotas. Just on that stats alone, do you think Manotas is the right fit for Columbus?
I think he is. Just based on stats alone. Now I'm gonna have to go do my homework and go watch some of his tape to see if his play fits into how we play here. And Caleb Porter's style, his formations and everything. Mm-hmm. The DP role here at Columbus, it still stings that the trade of Jossie. I get it; it's a business, But Jossie's still been here for so long, so we grew with him. The city grew on him, and he grew on the city. So I'm glad we're indoors.
Yeah.
I think that's also another key piece that Columbus is missing. Is that the DP? Somebody who's got some firepower with his foot, and somebody that can score, long distance like Lucas.
Yeah,
and like Pedro. We saw Pedro, a couple goals, from outside of the box. So if somebody can have that threat of not only Lucas being able to score outside of the box, now that brings those defenders out of the box.
Yep.
So I like the move if they can open up the checkbook, the Haslams and Dr. Edwards open up the checkbook and say how much.
Then Columbus has their DP?
Yeah. Or just hands them a blank check and says, here.
If only that would happen. Moving on, now we get to go to your precious what kind of
my baby.
It? Yeah. Columbus Crew 2. Picking up right where they left off after the loss to Rochester, New York the other week. But a stunning 4-2 win in Chicago.
3 points.
Bridgeview. Against Chicago Fire 2. You probably saw more of that than I did. So walk me through what happened.
So Columbus Crew 2 started off slow. Coming out of the loss to Rochester actually hurt. So I think they were still licking their wounds from that one, and that chip was a little too heavy.
Yep.
But we saw it in the first 21 minutes of the game. Chicago Fire 2 went up 2-0. There was one goal that I hate it because Patrick Schulte played off his line.
Which is what I brought up last week. That it scares me like that.
He was the only defender back there, and Chicago Fire 2 got around Crew 2's defender, and it was a 1v1. He shook, Patrick up and got around him for the easy, goal.
Tap in. Mm-hmm.
So then, the second goal, it was off of it was, Columbus made him work for it. But going into halftime 2-0, and I don't know who said what in that locker room, but coming out of halftime, that was not the same team that started.
Do you think now? Question is, do you think those honest conversations that Marco spoke of last time were had during that during halftime in that locker room?
I think some new honest conversations were spoke in the locker room at halftime. I think they had some, during training the week before they went out to Chicago. But I'll tell you what, 2 minutes out of halftime, the captain scores.
Speaking of,
Marco, nice one. Then, I believe this was Ryan Telfer's first goal of the year. I could double check on that one.
I actually think you're right, because I hear a lot of Jason and Noah, but I think you're right.
And so I mean, it was one of those where, of course, Noah and Jason got theirs, and which, speaking of Jason, I think he went back up to tie for the Golden Boot.
Yeah.
So it just was one of those where it was they just came out.
Mm-hmm.
Jason
turn. They turned it up, as the kids would say nowadays. They
turned up.
Yeah. They became the most what do they call kids call it nowadays? They were cracked in the second half.
Yeah. Oh.
Sorry, I had to do that.
But I know I talked to, I asked Marco about the question about how, missing Jason.
Yes.
During the Rochester game. Marco had the assist for Jason's goal.
And
so
and you're right, that goes back to, if Jason were there, he could have done this.
And it was a fast break.
See, there it is.
And it was one that Jason, I showed you, I think you saw the clip of it where
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Marco just let it go through and Jason was there. So, and then he got around to the, tap in. Same thing with Noah's. Noah, was assisted by Jason. So you could tell the team actually missed, Jason.
Yeah. Yep.
And then, Mo Farsi still doing his thing with the assist. He got his assist on Marco's goal, I believe. Or they said it was credited to Noah, but for Telfer's, goal,
okay,
Mo Farsi was there. So, he should have way more assists than what he has now, because all those assists that he was throwing into the boxes all season so far,
mm-hmm.
Especially against Rochester,
yep,
there should have been at least 4.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, missing Jason, you could tell they did, and I don't know who said what. I don't know if Coach Laurent did one of those football moves and sat outside of the locker room and just let the players
do their own thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know who or what, but the team came out possessed.
And we talk about Jason Russell-Rowe and how important he is. He's pretty important because he got Player of the Month for MLS Next Pro.
Exactly. He had, during the win streak, I think it was like 6 or 7 goals.
Yeah.
In 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you sit there and you're just like, we talk about him, and not to knock on any of the other players, but this kid is super. Like, he, you could throw him in, the MCU. As an Avenger or somebody, mm-hmm. some type of Marvel character, because he's unstoppable. And, for him to get the call up to, be down there with the first team at Atlanta, I know that was pretty cool. But come back for Chicago, and he picked up right where he left off.
Yep.
So, I mean, he plays, I want to say that front 3, Marco, Noah, and Jason. That front 3 that they run, that's the most important, to me, that's the most important part of the team.
Just that alone is probably the most important in the league.
Yeah. And
because
then
that I think the win just put them back up in first place in the Eastern Conference, if I'm not mistaken.
24 points. They went back up over New England. So, and also, too, there's a later date, but Rochester is now actually topped into the top 5 now. So I can't wait till we have our rematch with them in Rochester. But you're talking about the captain, and you might as well say first lieutenant and second lieutenant with Noah and Jason.
Yep.
But, you still can't take away from, when Hurtado comes down, when Matan comes down, Aiden, Jake, even Isaac Anking. So you can't take away from some of these other guys, but your top line is that 3. It's almost like talking hockey. Like, we're talking lines, like, your top line is always your first line.
Yes.
And when you have all 3 of them playing, Marco, Noah, and Jason, magic happens.
Well, we can see if magic continues. Columbus Crew 2 back in action this coming Thursday, June 9th at 7 o'clock. They face off against Inter Miami 2. They already played very first game of the season and lost 2-0 down in Miami. Columbus looking to get revenge. We're going to take a small break. Coming up, we have Columbus Eagles FC. They recently had a match and an enthralling victory for FC Columbus. This is the Wisemen Say podcast on the Yamo Media. We'll be right back.
Did the Warriors blow it, or did Boston win that game?
Can it be half and half?
Absolutely. Obviously,
because
nothing's white and black. There's always gray to the area.
I blame Steve Kerr blew it. He let the Queen get got. And it was checkmate for game 1. Don't let it be checkmate for the whole series. I mean, like I said,
I don't mean to cut you off. How many shots did Steve Kerr have?
I don't know, but he got 5 rings as a player. But anyways, you got Stephen Curry super hot, 21 points in the first quarter, 6 threes in the first quarter.
Right.
You sit him for the first 6 minutes of the second quarter,
right?
And the team doesn't really have another thing. They're trading buckets. The next thing you know, when Steph comes back in, the Celtics take all the momentum. Steph is no longer hot. He's cold. He doesn't score the entire second quarter, and now they're down at the half versus being up by a lot. If they would have just kept riding out that hot streak, I think he also needed to make other adjustments. Instead of more Iguodala, he should have played more Kuminga. Should have played Moody. They got other players that they should have played. Once Draymond was missing, I know I'm pro Draymond, but if he's gonna be shooting, you need to get somebody in there who's gonna hit some buckets. Draymond pissed me off for real. He blew a wide open corner 3. He blew a floater and a layup. 3 straight possessions. That's 7 points he left.
The one you run the offense around Draymond.
I said run the offense. Since we're talking about scoring, he didn't get it done. That's why you take him out and play the rookie who's just waiting to be released.
Kenneth Walker from Michigan State was picked number 41 by Seattle. I think I watched him play last year in the Big Ten, and I thought he was the best back in the Big Ten. He had some really explosive games, and he knows how to get up in the hole. He knows how to run away from people, and I think he's a guy to really watch in the first year.
Welcome back to the Wisemen Say podcast at Columbus Soccer Podcast. Tyler Fisher back here with Jerald Lucas. And Jerald, now we move on to the Columbus Eagles. They had a game over the weekend at Capitol in WPSL action. Unfortunately, a 4-1 loss to Beedling SC out of Pennsylvania. However, that's okay because they are set to play them again this weekend.
Nice.
So, riding, we talked about, they split the home and home series recently. What does that do momentum-wise for the Eagles?
I think it puts a chip on their shoulder. We talk about in all sports, we talk about the type of loss. Mm-hmm. We saw that with the Crew. Hey, you lost 4-0, 5-0. We want you to make that. We want you to feel that. So I think that's something that for the Eagles that they can, the Lady Eagles, that they can use that as a fuel. I would say, look, this was our home opener. We lost 4-1. What do we do now? Have some of those honest talks. Just try to hold each other more accountable when it comes to, preparation. Hey, you're slacking a little bit, during training. Pick it up. Let's go. Do you want another 4-1 loss against the same team? Or do you want to, where do you want to go? Where do you want to see yourself going? Do you want to go play for all the marbles, or do you want a participation trophy? Which do you want? I think that's the type of conversation that should be had this week going into, I don't know if they're playing here or if they're going to, I think it's Pennsylvania.
Yeah, yep, they're back in Pennsylvania.
So going on the road. Mm-hmm. Do you want that participation trophy? You got, I don't know how long of a trip it is, but if you're driving.
Well, I'll tell you right now, Pennsylvania is like 3 hour drive maybe.
It also depends on where they're going in Pennsylvania.
That's also true because I've only been to California and Pennsylvania, but
you know what I'm saying? True. So, if you're driving, you got a long trip to think. Take some self-reflection and just come out. And I look for them to rebound. I said this all the time, Columbus strong. No matter what sport it is, what team, we're Columbus strong. We always rebound no matter what. So I believe that, the ladies can turn it around.
Sarah Shupansky got a hat trick for Beedling SC. Carolina Lucci also notched her goal to make that 4. Madison Costner got the goal for Columbus, assisted by Alicia Donnelly. So, goals are there. They can try and rebound, like you said, against Beedling SC this Sunday, I believe. No, Saturday. Whenever the 11th is. Saturday. They are looking to right the ship, as some would say. So hopefully they can get it done. Not sure if I can say this. So in the meantime, we also are going to have Mark Wise and a couple of Eagle players, don't know who yet, on the show next Monday.
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to that.
So that's going to be definite tune-in episode. I'm excited for that. I haven't talked to Mark Wise in a long time.
This would be the first time meeting him. So, anytime you get a chance to meet a semi-pro, pro, or even a high school coach for a sport is exciting.
Yep.
Because you get to see how they're mentoring these athletes, whether it's high school, whether it's D1, D2, D3, semi-pro, pro. You get to see the mentality that they bring to these players. And then, getting a couple of the players on there. Hey, what's it like? What's it like playing for, for this team? Where do you see the team going? Talk a little more about the team history. And the chemistry also, too, that you got with all the rest of the players. So, to get it out there.
Yeah.
This is going to be huge, for the Eagles. So, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's going to be a fun one. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I remember when the Eagles first started.
At Wellington School?
Yes, up in Upper Arlington. Yep, that was a fun thing to do. I know that they're very good though. That's one thing that they're a very good team. All teams have their up and downs, but do not underestimate the Eagles and Mark Wise. I'll tell you that right now. They're a very good team.
So then I'm looking for a win this Saturday.
See, there you go. Now, speaking of the Wellington School, we have another team that plays up there, FC Columbus. What a game that was! I don't know if you happen to see any highlights or not, but
I saw some, and I was sitting there blown away. What was it? A 5-0?
yeah, 5-0.
5-0, win for Columbus FC.
FC Columbus.
FC Columbus.
Yep.
I was saying Columbus first.
No, it was an amazing game. Both teams, Panathinaikos Chicago is who they played. They were riding 2 7-0 losses heading into this match against Columbus. Columbus losing 4-0 to I'm drawing a blank of who they played. Yeah, Carpathia FC. They were also wanting to, get a win. Mm-hmm. So both teams honestly were, vying for 3 points. Nothing at halftime. Columbus could not find that second pass to save their lives. Build up from the back was fine. However, the long balls over the top just couldn't find the attacker in Damani Kamara. Just couldn't find Gulet Abdi over the back line. It would either get intercepted or it would go straight to the keeper. Second half, they turned it on. They turned it on second half.
So they had some honest conversations at halftime?
Probably. And Damani Kamara, I mean, you just have to see these goal highlights for yourself. Producer Adam, roll the clip.
The corner is sent in. Into the net it is! Damani Kamara opens the scoring. His teammate number 8 swung out wide, ball in. Kamara yet again! Damani Kamara, have a day, sir! Sent over. And another goal for Columbus! Shot taken, and it's deflected in! 4-0 Columbus. Gulet Abdi gets his name on the scoreboard. He has 2 already. Can he get a third? Kamara, he can! Damani Kamara with a hat trick. 5-0 to the home side.
As you saw right there, I mean, Damani Kamara, how did you do that? A second half hat trick to make it a 5-0 win for FC Columbus.
Somebody spoke up at halftime, and I guess, just the name Kamara here in Columbus, that holds something. So, and especially if you're playing soccer.
Prolific goal scorers.
Yes. Prolific
goal scoring. We've seen it with the crew and Kai and Ola, like you said just now. Damani Kamara, who played with the team beforehand when they played at Groveport Madison High School, he was scoring goals there too. And now to come back and a hat trick. The 2 headers, one right off of a corner kick, perfectly placed. One bounce into the back of the net. Second one, right wing, lofted ball in, another header. And then the third one, a near post strike, I'd say probably about 8 yards away from the 6-yard box. Just beats the keeper near post, and it's already 5-0 for Columbus.
I mean, that one header actually looked like something from, the first team.
Yeah.
We saw that in Atlanta. Corner to Mensa and back of the net.
Yep.
So, and that was a beautiful hitter, so.
Yeah. I had a chance to speak to Mazi Achete, who's the head coach for FC Columbus after the game. And he asked me, like, what did you think of the game? So I think it was great. And I told him, I said, second balls weren't here and whatnot. You just couldn't get it over. And he actually agreed with me. He said they just couldn't find that extra pass. But at halftime, they tweaked some things, and they were able to get that extra pass. They were able to, break down Panathinaikos Chicago. In that match, again, as I said before, a team riding 2 consecutive 7-0 losses. Things got chippy. I will say that. Things got chippy.
I mean, when you're coming in on bad losses, you're going to come in with some aggression and some anger. Mm-hmm. I know I certainly would. But, man, to come out the way they did at halftime, let me ask you this, because you were there.
Yes. By the way, yours truly on the goal calls there. Shameless plug.
We'll get to that here in a minute. But do you think the situational awareness improved at halftime?
Man, we love talking about situational awareness.
Because, you got to have it, though, with offense and defense. So if they made some changes at halftime, do you think that their vision, with some of those changes?
So here's what I can say that I saw, right? So I talked about, the long balls, right? In the second half, they played more on the ground than they did in the first half, right? So they love going from the middle, like from the back line straight to the middle, and then kind of resetting, right? So it'd go, midfielder back to the back line, back to the keeper. And then the keeper, will play out wide. And then they'll go back. Now, here's where it gets tricky. Here's what I saw that they did. So from the keeper, they go to the middle again, but this time they're drawing more attention. The ball carrier is drawing more attention, which allowed, the wingers to tuck in to give them that option, right?
To go with the V.
Yes. So now you have a left mid and a right mid coming in. Now they're drawing attention from, their mids. And now you have the left and right back going down the wings.
Just say go for it.
Yeah. So now, and there were 1, 2, maybe 3 nifty passes, right? And when I say nifty, I mean the ball gets into the midfielder, and it's just, if I'm this way, I'm doing a backheel pass to my guy running by me. And then my left back or right back is in on goal, pretty much. Those are the nifty passes I'm talking about. So being able for, the midfield to draw that attention opens up the channel, the wings more for the fullbacks, for the left and right backs, which is what Columbus did. Now you have decisions to make, right? If I'm a fullback and I have the ball on the left or right side,
who you're going after?
Yes. Or am I taking it and am I cutting inside to get a shot off on my preferred foot right outside of the 18-yard box? Or am I playing these short passes is like give and go, right?
So this is like where Miguel Berry plays, he gets the ball and it comes back in. Was that sort of like what they were doing?
Not necessarily.
Not coming.
Close to it, though.
Okay.
Not necessarily, but close to it, though. It was more so of if I get the ball and I know I can beat this guy, I'm going to take him on no matter what, right? Then you obviously have the cases of, they lose possession, but they get it right back.
Yeah.
Because now they do this tactic where they throw 1, 2, 3 guys over on the ball side, so there's no outlet, and they have to make the other team reset going backwards. So
Gotcha.
As I'm drawing it on the table, ball here, 3 guys here, they have to go back, which means that those 3 guys can now get back to their position.
They bottle it.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what they do. They enclose the ball carrier, which did not allow any movement forward unless it was a lucky through ball or a lucky long switch to the other side. So it was honestly the greatest second half that I've seen out of this team.
Nice.
So it was
So
chef's kiss.
if they could keep up the same, attack and defend, my method from over the weekend, I'm looking for more wins.
Well, you can expect that. Because, well, I can't say expect, but you should be expecting that because the team has the talent to win. I will tell you that right now. Here's another thing I will say, though. FC Columbus, they play in the NPSL, right? They are facing teams from Chicago, Michigan, Wisconsin. But the traveling is so close in retrospect to going from Columbus to, New York or to Duluth, Minnesota, right? It allows them to, in my opinion, it allows them to play even more emphatically on a well-rested body than, having some sort of travel lag.
Yeah.
Right. But one thing that they do have is speed. They have speed. And I think you need to notice this for yourself. It's a great time. But they have speed, especially on the wings, especially in the left and right back positions. But what they do have is the strength in the middle to win the second balls, win headers, right?
Clean up the garbage and put it back in the net.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it is. So it's great time on Saturday. Weather was great, by the way. Great time. That team is honestly they are 2-1 on the season because they split the home and home against Carpathia, then beat Panathinaikos Chicago. They're back in action Saturday, the 11th. Yes, Saturday. I get my days mixed up. Saturday at 6 p.m. at the Wellington School in Upper Arlington. 6 p.m. What are you doing that day?
Nothing.
You're just coming out to a FC Columbus, Brock. Since you missed the one you said you were going to come to.
Yeah.
Broke my heart.
Work went over.
Everybody has work nowadays. What's work?
I mean,
I'm obviously kidding. We want to extend well wishes to Jonathan Mensah, obviously, as he recovers. I don't have anything else.
don't forget to come out this Thursday, 7 o'clock, Historical Crew Stadium. Columbus Crew 2 plays Inter Miami, which I'm looking for that revenge on our first loss of the year. It's going to be fun. I believe after this, they have a break.
I don't know.
I have the schedule somewhere.
Yeah.
But if you want to come out and see some exciting, Crew games, come out to Crew 2. It's grown here in Columbus, especially now. School's out, so people really don't have to worry about going to school.
Mm-hmm.
Bring the kids, bring the dogs. I saw that they were letting dogs in there. Yeah, somebody had a dog.
Was it a service dog?
No, it didn't have nothing, no service.
That's weird.
I said the same thing, but it was also hot outside. Like, I don't know why you want to bring your dog to a soccer game.
That's weird.
But, come on out. Bring the kids. If you've ever been to Historical Crew Stadium, they got the place set for the kids out there, which I do believe is open. Just get out there. Come out there for some good fun, soccer.
And then Saturday, if you don't have any plans, again, FC Columbus, they take on FC Milwaukee Torrent. I don't think I mentioned that. 6 p.m. at the Wellington School, Roberts Field in Upper Arlington. And then tune in next Monday. I had to think about it. Monday, we will have Mark Wise, Columbus Eagles head coach, and a couple come on the show. We'll talk about the Eagles and, you know, how they're doing, you know, what to expect the rest of the season. So that's going to be a fun episode.
It is. There was some other news regarding June 19th that was coming up for, I believe it was the Columbus FC or FC Columbus.
Was it the Eagles, maybe?
It might be the Eagles.
It is the Eagles, actually.
Yes.
Is it that right there? What
Yes.
you're talking about? Yes. So the 19th, is that a Sunday?
Sunday.
Columbus Eagles FC, Columbus Crew 2 doubleheader at Historic Crew Stadium. Eagles will play at 5 p.m. Beforehand, Columbus Crew 2 and their opponent. It's a full day of soccer.
What an amazing thing for the ladies.
Oh yeah, but they played a game or two there a while back ago, actually.
Well, now they're back.
Yeah, it's like they never left.
I mean, so what better, you know?
What better way to spend a Sunday than watching soccer, Columbus soccer at that?
Exactly. You know, they're both what, black and gold.
Every team except for FC Columbus are black and gold.
So, you know, I mean, we already got the black and gold there. You'll have the supporters there for Crew 2, which, you know, we all know that the supporter section for Columbus soccer, if it's a doubleheader, they stay.
Yes,
Unless,
no matter what.
Unless Mother Nature.
Let's not talk about that.
So I'm looking forward to that. You know, it's coming up here in a couple weeks. So, I mean, hey, I have nothing more, but might see you this Saturday, and I'm looking forward to hearing that beautiful voice on the call.
Thank you, my guy. Appreciate that. Thank you. This has been the Wisemen Say podcast, a Columbus soccer podcast. Tyler Fisher alongside Jerald Lucas. Thank you guys for joining in. I hope you guys enjoy your Wednesday. And Wisemen Say,
Only fools rush in.